Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm going to go ahead and actually give it another minute to see if there's any other attendees that want to log in before we go ahead and start our webinar. Okay, I think it's been a good 30 seconds, so everyone else will just have to tune in when they get here. All right, so good morning again to everyone. Thank you all for joining today. Our webinar is Improve Accuracy, Accountability, and Visibility, hosted by Archarina in partnership with Cougar Mountain. My name is Arthi Raj, and I, along with Jeremy Beislein, will be your host today. We have a great agenda planned, and hopefully you'll walk away today with some key insights as to how Archarina's ArcTimeTracker solution can help your company become more efficient. So I'm sure many of you are wondering, what even is Archarina? And that is a great question. So Archarina is actually a Sanskrit word that means less effort. And the reason we chose this name is because it embodies pretty much everything we're trying to achieve with our technology, less effort. In today's world, the reality is that pretty much every department of every business, from the largest public companies to single owner operator small businesses, need digital automation. Everything from accounting, HR, operations, every department, you name it. And the other reality is that unless you can spring for an expansive but expensive enterprise software, these different departmental technologies are siloed. It is difficult and very expensive to integrate multiple solutions. So unless you have a significant budget and a lot of time on your hands, that generally doesn't even tend to happen. That's a big issue and has a tangible effect on a company's productivity and the bottom line. So we created Archarina to address that struggle. Archarina's Arc Suite is intended to be an industry-agnostic, one-stop shop for all your business needs. Everything from accounting, HR, operations, sales, you name it. And it's all fully integrated at a cost-effective price point. So today, we'll be focusing solely on one of our solutions, our newest solution, which is a time tracker solution. ArcTimeTracker is a tool that allows businesses to manage and track your employees' time and projects in one easy place. ArcTimeTracker has all the features you need to do this, including an easy submission and approval process. We have a simple and intuitive workflow that allows your employees to submit the information in minutes. We also have remote management. So for your employees that perhaps go off-site or are working from home during the pandemic, you can have them submit their hours remotely while you maintain full visibility of what everyone is doing at all times. There's also easy check-in and checkouts. We've seen many applications that are very clunky and force employees to spend precious minutes just clocking in and clocking out. It's an absolute pain. Our time tracker allows employees to do it in just a second. You can also manage attendance from ArcTimeTracker. You can manage vacation requests and PTO attendance records for your employees in real time. So all these features make it a snap for you to manage complex projects easily and efficiently. Bottom line, it's multifunctional, simple, easy to use, and integrated for minimum effort and maximum productivity. With that, I'll hand it over to our Archarina Pro, Jeremy, to show us how the product really works. Jeremy, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter here so you can show us the product.
All right, thank you, Arthi. I appreciate that. And let's make sure I'm showing the right screen here.
Yes,
Show
I can
screen, monitor one, there we go. So Arthi, are you able to see the screen where it says sign into ArcTimeTracker?
Yes, I can. Perfect.
Perfect. All right, appreciate that. So good morning or afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're at in the country today. The ArcTimeTracker system is an online system that you log in on a web-based application here. And today I'm going to log in under James Hope. That is going to be our user we're logging in today. And as we go through this demonstration, you'll see that I'm logging in under multiple different users for the different roles that the user will have in the system. So James Hope, you'll see up here in the upper right corner of the screen for the login, the person that's logged in. So I can click here and see that that's me, that's my information, and I can log out and log in so that somebody else can log in if needed. And I can even change my password if needed as a user. But James Hope is an approver. So my job as Mr. Hope here is to track the time of employees that work under me for the company. So I'm like a supervisor for the company. And I track a set of employees that all work under me. I'm their supervisor, so I am tracking their time. And that is what the approver's role is. They will track their time. They will review the time that was submitted by the employees that worked for me, and they will approve the time or reject the time if there's a problem. So what I see here when I first log in is the first thing I see is a summary of the current time that I have tracked for myself, because I too am an employee tracking my own time. So I can see the total time that I've clocked in for today, the session time for the current session I'm in, the daily total for all entries, not just clocked time, but manual entries as well. Wow, I'm a busy guy. I've worked 20 hours today already. As a boss, you can understand that. And then the weekly totals, 80 hours for the week. Woohoo, boy, that's a big week. And then underneath the summary for my time, I see my team. So the approver's homepage is going to take you to the pending submission tab on that page. And that's what we see here is a list of my employees for the current week, the current pay period that I am currently tracking. And so for Anita Letterback, one of my employees, they currently have 20 hours for the week. And I can easily see they have 20 hours regular time, no overtime yet this week, or no time off. And all I need to do is click View Details to see the detailed breakdown of the time that you see for that user there. So I can easily see here my time and my employees' time is being tracked, not just the hours they're working, but under specific tasks and pay rates, under projects, and even customers that they're doing those projects for my business. So I can see that Anita, she's working on Custom and Martin, that's our customer, working on the bridge project for the regular task pay rate for her, and 2 whole minutes on that project. But the other customer, I can easily see the White Star project, the task was unloading. That's where she got 20 hours in for this week so far. And the time is tracked each day on a weekly basis for Anita, as we can see here. Anita is what we call a weekly time entry user. And that's what we're looking at. These are some of the other members on my team. For weekly members, I can see the entire week for each of their time. But there's also a daily time user. And Mr. John Beck, one of my employees, he's tracking his time as a daily user. So he enters and submits his time on a daily basis. So the current day, June 21st, is what it's showing here for the current week. I click View Details, and the daily user, I can see the breakdown of the customers, the projects, and the tasks. This is where the task tracking and project tracking comes in. It's not just hours worked. I can see what this user is working on. He's been working on the Sam's Wholesale project today, the Royal project and the Walmart project under the manufacturing task and pay rate. So I can easily see that just by looking. And with the daily user, it's more detailed. I can actually see the time in and time out with the total hours spent on that particular task for today. Down below is my own personal time that I'm tracking. Same information. I've got the same information here that I can track for my time. So the approver sees not just their own time, but they see the entire team that works for them as the approver, as their supervisor. The pending submission is the current week. If I click overdue submission, this is prior weeks or prior days for my weekly and daily users. What that means is that I can go here and see there are several entries that my employees have submitted, or have entered, I should say, but not yet submitted. That's the problem. That's why they're overdue. And I can see that there's 60 records in here of my employees that haven't submitted their time yet. So then I get on the horn and I say, come on, guys, if you want to get your paychecks, I need you to submit your time so I can approve that time. Now, if an employee is unavailable as their approver, I can go ahead and submit their time on their behalf. But typically I would have them do it just to make sure it was submitted correctly for what they agree to. Once the employee submits their time, then I see it here in the pending approval tab. This is the time that my employees have submitted. Now it's on me to approve their time. Approving time is real simple. I can look at their summary and say, yep, that looks good, or I can even click on view details and see the breakdown of the time, just like we saw in the pending tab. But now I'm looking at the details since I'm tracking the time, and I can easily see, yep, here we go. This customer is working on this project. But he did take 1 hour of jury duty here. I can easily see that, which is the time off tracking. That looks good to me. I can go ahead and click approve to approve that time, and it submits that time as approved to the HR department in payroll. Then they can submit they can include those hours in this employee's paycheck. But if there's a problem with that time, I can reject that time. And that kicks it back to the employee as now in the same status it was before, as pending submission. And with the little bubble here, I can even click here and put a note on that time before I reject that time, so that the employee now sees, well, that time was rejected, and there's the reason why. In here, I put in the note, please correct the jury duty. Should be April 10th, not April 9th. So he put in his jury duty 1 hour time off for April 9th. That should have been on April 10th. Or whatever other reason you may need to reject. So that is the approver's role in the system, to monitor their current team, all the hours that each of their employees, my employees is James Hope. I monitor all of my team's hours. I make sure that the team is submitting their time, and I'm not doing a good job at that. As I can see, there's so many of these overdue records not yet submitted. So it's up to me to push them to submit it or submit them time for them. And then it's up to me to make sure their time is correct and approve their time as needed. All right, so now we're going to log out as an approver. Let's log in as one of the regular weekly users, just one of the employees that works in the system. So I'm going to put the employee login. Their login name is just simply their email address, and they will have a password for the system. So now we're looking at a new person, Mr. Rose, or Miss Rose Bush, I should say. So Rose is an employee. She's a weekly employee that enters her time in on a weekly basis. So she could be paid weekly, bi-weekly, or however that needs to be. But the time is tracked and entered on a weekly basis here. A very similar layout here. Now we're looking at Rose's current clocked in time for today. Current session total, which is the current hours that is being tracked. Right now, Rose is not clocked in, so the session total is 0. She has already clocked 7 hours and 13 minutes for today. Oh, no, she clocked in at 7:13 a.m. I'm sorry. Read that right. She clocked in today at 7:13 a.m., but she's already clocked out now. So her daily total is 10 hours and 3 minutes. That's what we're looking at. Weekly total is 40 hours and 12 minutes. So I can see as a user, this is my time. And if I need to clock in, I just simply click the clock in button. This is what Arthi was talking about. It's real simple for the user to clock in. You click clock in, you make sure you select the project you're working on for the time and your pay rate or task, and you click clock in, and the system automatically starts to track the time. And so now I have clocked in successfully. So you will now see session total will start adding up for my current clock in session as the day goes on. And then when I hit clock out, it will add that hour, those hours that I've clocked in and out to my current day's time. Very simple to use. Same information I saw on the approver, but this is only my time as Miss Rose Bush. I'm only looking at my time. I don't have access to the other employees because I'm just a user here. I'm not the approver. So here's the time that I have tracked, again, by project, by customer, by task. Is your task tracking, time tracking project per task, even per customer as needed. We can see the hours worked on each of those projects on a day. So I can see I've worked on the Sam's distributor customer on the Walmart project. There's my 3 minutes for Monday, and it looks like I had 3 minutes for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well. And then I've got a State Farm customer. I've worked on that project for an hour and a half each day this week so far. Custom and Martin, the bridge project. Cushman and Martin, I should read that right. I've worked 2.5 hours on that project each day, easily seen in the detail there, and 6 hours each day on the East Playground project, researching for them. So that's the breakdown that I can see what I have done for this current week. But I also have 4 records from prior weeks that I have not yet submitted that are overdue. They should have been submitted to my boss, James Hope, so that he can approve those times, so I can get paid for those. So all I do is I click submit if I want to submit the time, and there it is. Pending approval, that is the time that I have submitted. I'm just waiting on James Hope to approve it now. So if I go ahead and submit this timesheet for week 15, what's going to happen here is it puts that in the pending approval. You can see now I have 1 submission waiting for him to approve. But it's not my job to approve it, it's his. So I don't have the approve or reject option here. But what I do have is I have an option to remind him by clicking the little bell, remind him to approve this time if he hasn't done it after so long. Or the next option is after I submitted it, if I'm looking at the details or just looking at the time and realize there's a mistake, before he even looks at it, I can recall that time to put it back in pending submission status for me to fix it. Or I can also add a comment to the time here if I want my approver to see my time comments. And he can see those comments when he goes to approve. So for the daily and weekly users, they just enter their time by clocking in and out. It's time to clock out now. And I say, am I taking a break when I'm clocking out? Or do I need to swap tasks? Stay clocked in, but switch tasks now. Or am I done for the day on this project? And just go ahead and clock out for the day. Very simple. I'm going to go ahead and clock out. And now that time that I just clocked is added to the time for today. There it is. It added it to Thursday. Today is Thursday. There was only 3 minutes there before. Now there's 6 minutes because I just clocked 3 more on that same project. So we can see how the system automatically adds that time with the clock in and out. Makes it real easy to use. You just click the button, and then when you clock out, you click it again, and it adds the time in your weekly entry automatically. There's also an option in the time entry page to manually add time to your daily and weekly entries. This is a weekly time user, so they can go ahead and set up a new task for this project they're working on, or select a different project or even a different customer of who they're working for. And then they can enter the task and manually enter the hours worked on that task for this day. And it will add that as a separate line to the current week's entries. If we're adding hours to a current task I've already have time entered for, I can just click here and add the hours directly to that particular task on that line. I only need to add a new line with the little plus key here after I've entered my hours if it's a whole new task that I'm not already tracking for the current week. But this isn't necessary if you're using the clock in and out feature. This is only an option if you need to add time or even edit the time that has already been saved as the user. And the time summary just simply shows a report to this user of what they currently have in their time. But you don't edit anything here. It just shows the current time and the current status of what that time is. You can also put in a date range. We can show the time for a specific date range. If we back this up a few months here, now I see all the time entries for the entire date range, and there's still only one, it looks like, for pending submission. So that's what we see for the regular, weekly, and daily user there. So let's go ahead and log out. That was a weekly user. And now, just real quick, we're going to log in as a daily user to show you the difference on the time entry. Most of the functionality is going to be very similar, but the time entry is a little different for the daily time entry user. So again, the daily user can see now that that's who's logged in. Mr. John Beck is my daily user. So now I'm a daily employee. I only see my time because I'm not an approver, but this is the time I have tracked for me. And this is for today, June 24th, because I'm a daily user. So this is the time I am tracking for today on each project, but the daily user doesn't just track the number of hours, they also track the clock in and clock out time, which is part of the daily record for each project that I am working on. So I can easily see today I've already worked on 3 different projects for the, well, same project for the same customer, the First Baptist Church, but I did 3 different tasks. I can easily see that I spent 4 hours setting up the table and chairs for this luncheon meeting. I can see with First Baptist Church, they do like a monthly luncheon meeting, and I have been assigned to be there to set that luncheon up for them. So I worked 4 hours on that task. Then I worked almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 52 minutes on the decorations for the luncheon meeting, and a little over an hour on the stage setup. But it's 3 different tasks on the same project, so you can get as detailed as you need to with your project tracking. And again, it's so easy to track that time. You just select the clock in. Which project are you working on? The projects are assigned to the customers automatically. So if I select which project I'm working on, there it is, and what pay rate I am clocking in under, decorations. Clock in the task that I am doing. I won't do that because I've already got the clock in for today, so I'll just cancel for now. But that's how you would do it as a daily user, and it would track the time in, the time out, and the hours on that specific task. And for my overdue submission, these are, again, records that I have entered, but I have not submitted for approval. And on the daily user, I'm supposed to submit these at the end of each day. So here's one for yesterday. It's already overdue because it should have been submitted last night. Typically what I could do is when I come in the morning, first thing, this is real easy. If I've been submitting these like I should, I would only have yesterday's time in here first thing in the morning for today, and I can click overdue and go ahead and submit that time after I've clocked in on today's entry, and then I can go to work. So it's real easy to manage the time. And I have one here that I have submitted for June 7th, but my boss, James Hope, hasn't approved it yet. Well, that was 2 weeks ago. That should have been approved by now. So I'm going to send him a reminder just by clicking this button. What it does when you send a reminder is it actually kicks out an email to the approver, and he receives an email in his inbox saying, you've got one of your employees, Mr. John Beck, who has submitted time and he hasn't had it approved yet. So please review the time for approval. Or if there's a problem, I can recall my time, or I can add a comment as well. Looks like I have added a comment here. I just go ahead and point to that button. It looks like it's a blank comment. Yeah, the comment was added, but it was just a space, so no comment there. But that's what you would see, a little exclamation point when a comment is added. So let's actually add a comment. Here is my time. There we go. Now, when I point to that, I can see that there's a comment added. Here is my time. And if I add another comment, it just adds another line to this page here so that my approver can see my comments. The little exclamation point is the indicator that there are comments. All right. So the daily user, again, they can clock in and out, or if you want to do a manual time entry for today, here's all the current time entries I have for today. I can edit those entries just by selecting here on the date or the time that I need to enter, 5:30 a.m. if I want to edit that entry, and then the timeout entry, and then I just simply click. Once I've edited that, I simply click this little check box here to correct that entry. But see, there's a problem here. 7:55 a.m. It says you cannot add tasks for future times. That was one error down here. Or you can't repeat the same time entries. So we've got repeats and we've got entries that it's not allowing me to repeat. Here's where the problem is. I'm clocking in and out at 7:55 a.m. That's my clock out, but I've clocked in on this task at 7 a.m. So it's not letting me clock out at 7:55. I need to fix that. Let's clock out at 6:55 instead. And then it will allow me to save that entry. But the other entries for future time, it's given me an error for those. However, this one has now been saved and corrected in my entry. And I can enter a new entry just by selecting my task and project for the customer, the time in and time out, and click the little plus and it adds it to my current day's entries. But again, no need to do that. You just click the little clock in. It can all be done from the home page. Just click the little clock in, select your project, and then click clock in. You're good to go. All right, so that completes the daily user. That's how the daily user enters time into the system. Very easy to use, especially with the clock in and clock out. Makes it a lot easier to track your time with the complete project tracking in a simple way and saving time on trying to track your time for both the user and the approver as well. But we have one other role we need to talk about today. This other role that I'm going to log into is Miss Anita Letterback. She is the ArcTimeTracker administrator for my company. So here I am. I'm going to be Miss Anita Letterback. And so now I can see I'm logged in. I'm the administrator. I'm still going to track my own time, as you can see, but I have James Hope who approves my time. So I don't have anyone that I approve time for. But I do run this system as the administrator. The reason why is because I am the HR person. I'm the person as Anita Letterbox that processes paychecks. And so it's up to me to make sure that everybody is set up in the system correctly. But again, I could be an approver, but I don't have any employees that I approve time for, so my team is 0. But if my boss decides to assign me as an approver for somebody else, then I would see their time under the team. But since I don't have any, I just see my own time here for what I have done. And if I click View Details, there's the details. Again, I am a weekly user. The administrator can be set up as either weekly or daily. In this case, Anita is set up as a weekly user. I've still got the same information here that the other users have for my time, and I can easily clock in and out just like the other users. I can also do my time entries on a weekly basis, just like the other users, as the manual. The approval is for employees that work for me, but I don't have any, so I don't need to worry about that. Time summary is my time reporting, just like the other users. But there's a couple other tabs here that you don't see. The report tab and the settings tab. The report tab is just an export format to export the hours to my payroll system for all employees. Not just the ones that I approve, but everyone that is set up in this system, since I'm the administrator. I'm not allowed to approve or edit that time, but I can export that time into my payroll system for processing paychecks. On the settings tab, of course, this is where I go in to set up new employees when I need to set up a new employee or edit a current employee's information. So this is a list of all the employees, the users and approvers that will be using the time tracker system. And I can click on any one of these employees to see their information here. And there it is. This is this employee, David Mesh. He's one of the users. And his approver is set up in the system as James Hope. Approver is James. That's James Hope. These are the different pay rates and tasks that he will be working on. And he also has a leave code rate that he can use to track time off, in this case, sick leave. To edit that information, I just click on the little button over to the right here, and now I can edit. I can change his approver to someone else if I need to. I can make him a daily or weekly time entry. And when I set the week, Monday through Sunday is my week, my pay period week. Regular hours is 8 hours a day. Any hours over 8 will be tracked as overtime hours in the ArcTime system. Status can be active or inactive, and then the role is a user. Or I can have another person be the administrator that has all the same access to employee setup that I have. And that would be good if you need to temporarily assign someone to take over your administrator duties while you're on vacation or you're on a leave of absence or something. And that is the employee setup. So that completes the time tracking part of the system, but there's one more thing I wanted to show. We talked about exporting the time into a payroll system. But if you are using the Cougar Mountain Denali payroll system, this is the Cougar Mountain Denali payroll module to process paychecks in the accounting system for Denali accounting, then you can integrate ArcTime directly into the Denali payroll, so you don't have to do the import and export. And what's great about this is when you integrate ArcTime, set up the ArcTime integration, you just put in the administrator's username and password for ArcTime. Denali automatically connects to ArcTime, and then you can automatically set up your employees with one click here in the Denali payroll. Once they're set up in ArcTime, they go in and track their time, just like we went through today. When the time is ready to be paid out and approved, all you have to do in Denali payroll is import the daily units from the ArcTime system. Denali automatically connects to ArcTime and imports those hours to process their paychecks, which saves you the hassle of manually entering the total hours worked for each employee. The system automatically brings in those hours, and then when you run through the workflow to process the paychecks, it's pretty much automatic. You don't have to enter any hours. It's just done for you because the employees are doing that through ArcTime, which is one of the greatest benefits, saving so much time of having those hours brought in automatically instead of manually through manual entry into your payroll system. All right, and that is the big advantage we have with the ArcTime system. So today we showed how daily, weekly managers and administrators of the ArcTime system can quickly and easily enter, review, and approve and analyze your company's time and project tracking more efficiently and easily import those hours to process paychecks into your payroll system. And with that, that completes our demonstration today. So I will go ahead and open it up for Arthi to answer any questions that she may have. Anything else, Arthi, I need to cover?
No, that was wonderful, Jeremy. Thank you so much for walking us through the product. Got a great overview of how ArcTimeTracker works from various different roles, as well as how it integrates with Denali. So I think hopefully our attendees had some insight there and it answered many of their questions. So that just about wraps up our agenda for today.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining and learning more about ArcTimeTracker. If you'd like to learn more or you're interested in getting a personal demonstration of the product, please reach out to your Cougar Mountain account executive who'll be happy to walk you through it. And if you're interested in any of our other products in the Arc suite, keep your eyes peeled for more announcements and webinars, and feel free to ask your account executive as well. We'll be releasing more products throughout the rest of this year. Thanks, everyone.